Oakland, California, the great KSFO. Go.
Hey, I'd like to just state some facts here for transparency. You mentioned many things, but let's just be specific. Reagan tripled the deficit. One, two is raised the debt limit.
Okay, let's do one at a time. Tripled the deficit. You mean tripled the annual deficit or tripled the debt? What are you talking about?
Government spending to stimulate.
He tripled government spending.
No. Stop.
Can I ask you a question? How old are you?
No.
Pay attention. We're going to walk through this step by step.
Let's do
Somebody
it.
wrote something down, and you're making a call. I asked you a question. How old are you?
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm going to explain in a minute. How old are you? What's the problem? Just answer the question. I'm 57. How old are you?
30.
You're 30. So you weren't alive then, and you don't understand. Pay attention. I'm educating you. Are you capable of that?
Don't be condescending.
I am condescending. Pay attention. Every time Ronald Reagan sent a budget to the United States Congress, you know what they called it, sir? They called it debt on arrival. Why did Tip O'Neill call the Reagan budget debt on arrival, sir? You're 30. Why did he do that? Pay attention. I'm giving you an education you never had. You should be thanking me. Quiet them down, because this is really for the public. Because they wanted to spend more. Ronald Reagan shut down the government 6 times, mostly overspending, because Congress wanted to spend more. This is the game the Democrats play and their surrogates who call programs like this. They say, wow, look how Reagan and other conservatives have raised the debt and the deficit, when in fact they never got a budget through. When Reagan got through the tax cuts, he had to go over Tip O'Neill's head and get people like, I forget his name now, but some of these moderate so-called blue dog Democrats that don't even exist anymore to support his position. So that's number one. Number two, the debt today and the annual deficits today don't even come close to what Reagan did. Okay, what's your next point, sir?
Next point, okay. One, yes, indeed, tripled the deficit.
You didn't hear what? You didn't hear a damn thing I said.
Oh no. Bottom line.
Pay attention. The spending bills come out of the Congress. A president can propose a budget, and what happened was Congress kept increasing his budgets. Now, if you can't get past this and get to your second point, I'm moving on.
Okay, let me speak then. Number two is excuse me 1 second, like a little dog here. Number two is simply that we know he tripled the deficit. He raised.
All right, thanks for your call. That's enough. I can't. Do you disagree with me, Mr. Producer? I mean, what is the point of this? Didn't hear a word I said. Now, what he told Mr. Call Screener he wanted to talk about was the minimum wage. You'll even hear some talk show hosts go, raise it, what's the problem? Because they're ignorant. It has a severe negative effect on youth employment, particularly in the inner cities. And it's time that we stop dealing with myths and lies and deal with facts. Most workers who are paid the minimum wage are young. Workers under age 25 are 20% of the total workforce, but they make up half of the people who earn the federal minimum wage. 20% of employed teenagers earn the minimum wage, compared with 3% of workers over the age of 25. Approximately 10% of part-time workers and approximately 2% of full-time workers earn the minimum wage. Why does this matter? Because when they say, like this guy was going to say, but he couldn't get past his Reagan with the deficits, this isn't about working families for the most part. This is about first-rung jobs for young people. It's about jobs in food franchises, in retail stores, in grocery stores. And when you raise the minimum wage, the big lie is that somehow you're improving a family's earning capacity. You are destroying jobs for the people who earn the minimum wage. These are the statistics. They are statistics from the government. These are the studies. How do I know? It's one of the chapters in my new book. That's how I know. Plunder and deceit. When Obama and the others and this Patty Mary get up and say, hey, look, a man or a woman trying to provide for their family, they can't live off the minimum wage. Most of them aren't earning the minimum wage if they're working. It's their kids. who are earning the minimum wage. It's part-time workers who are earning the minimum wage. Not exclusively, but mostly. And when you raise the minimum wage, you're putting these kids out of work. And you're especially putting them out of work in the inner cities. What can we do to help the inner cities? I'm telling you, the left is killing the inner cities. And not just the inner city, the country. So you have, across the nation, millions of young people who could be employed but for this continuing push to increase the minimum wage. Look at Seattle. Look at these other places. Increasing the minimum wage. They're blowing out these kids in these jobs so they don't have a first job. They don't have the experience of showing up for work. They don't have the experience of paying taxes and earning a paycheck. They don't have the experience of being trained and working with others. That's why I get sick and tired of the lectures from the liberals all over TV, over Baltimore. Same prescriptions over and over again. Over and over again. We have this imposition of the minimum wage that came out of the New Deal. We have scholars, economists, professors who say that helped extend the New Deal. You have to have a job to have a salary increase. If you're unskilled or low skilled, if it's your first job, if you're 16 years old, 17, 18 years old, and suddenly the minimum wage jumps up from over $7 to $12, $15, you're out of work. They can't squeeze enough out of those French fries and hamburgers from a profit perspective. And on top of that, Obamacare, they simply can't cover it, and they're not gonna. They're not going to do it. And they don't do it. Study after study, it is conclusive. It is unequivocal. It's unequivocal. Now, even according to the Congressional Budget Office, if the minimum wage is increased, as Patty Murray and others wish to increase it, it'll cost 500,000 jobs. And it'll cost those 500,000 jobs, not exclusively, but heavily in metropolitan areas. Now, I don't care if I'm the last man standing. I don't care if I'm the last man behind a microphone. I don't care if it's my last breath. I refuse to spend my life embracing lies. Embracing lies, allowing the leftist mindset, the utopian statist mindset to control our ability to reason and think and make arguments. What Republicans should be saying is, if you want to destroy teenage jobs in our inner cities, then raise the minimum wage. If you want more and more young kids on the streets at night rather than working at night, then raise the minimum wage. But if you have real compassion for low-skilled, unskilled workers, for teenagers and young people, then you will fight for economic growth. You will fight so they can keep their jobs. You will fight so they can get new jobs. Behind every one of these agenda items on the left, you can see some special interest benefiting from it. And it really is time to break the monopoly stranglehold that the Sharptons and the Jacksons, among others, have on the black community and other communities that fall in line with this nonsense. It's that simple.